Ahoy, everybody. Welcome back to the Landry Marauders podcast. Joined here by a couple of Bombad pirates. How are you guys doing?
Really well. I'm really excited.
I'm loving that new intro. I love when you guys surprise me with the new intro. Like, I do not know these intros before starting these shows, so it's great just come in and be like, whoa.
We never tell Matt. I'm always just like, all right, guys, send me your clips from like the past, like whatever amount of months it's been since we did an intro, and then I get clips, and then you get an intro.
I may have made a folder of clips at like 2 a.m. last night.
You did.
Anyways,
pumped.
Yeah.
If you guys listened closely, I said ahoy, everybody. But I said it so quick, it sounded like hey, everybody. But the subtle things.
Ahoy, everybody.
Brent is in the chat. Brent, it's been a while. Good to see you. We're going to get to our amazing thoughts on Skeleton Crew. But the crew's doing all right here. Let's bring in our guests. Let's not waste any further time because we're good at that. So we're joined here by space pirate expert and Star Wars author, Landry Q Walker. How are you doing, Landry?
I'm well. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. We've kind of been hyping you up.
Again.
Yeah. We've been hyping you up as the space pirate expert.
I can accept that today.
No matter what was coming next, like in this whatever show was coming, we were like, oh, we want to get Landry back on. It's been a little bit, maybe since Bad Batch or something.
I think it was the finale. Was it the finale? Or the
opening
season?
It might have been a mid-season thing.
It might have been mid or opening.
Yeah.
Opening. Yeah.
But I remember I think you were in your car after the dentist and you had gummy bears.
That's right. I forgot.
Good. And I wanted to have gummy bears with me here today, but I didn't plan enough to do that.
I'm more a little more grounded today. Although I literally finished watching the episode like the minute I tuned in here. That's perfect. My time today. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to manage this? I didn't know there were 2 episodes.
That's why I said, I was like, hey, just so you know, both.
If I hadn't gotten that message, I would be like, what do you mean there's 2?
We would have transitioned into the second episode and you would have been like,
that was an irrational fear I had. I mentioned to Jamie, I was like, I hope he knows there's 2 episodes because like not many people probably do, but
no idea, but it worked out great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And obviously you're the space pirate expert because you authored one of our favorite stories in Star Wars about one of our favorite space pirates, Sidon Athano, the Blood 100%. Buccaneer, Crimson Corsair, which we always we always talk about that story all the time. We tell it to everyone. We tell them to go read the book, buy the book, which the book you wrote leading into Force Awakens, like that collection of short stories, is just like, we had Bobby Moynihan on, the comedian, a few weeks ago or a few months ago, and we called him the king of Glupshitos. But I think like you're the king of writing Glupshitos, it seems, at least in our eyes.
I got so lucky with that job. Oh my God. I know I've told you the story before of how I got to sit down and pick those characters. But I mean, that I picked the Crimson Corsair out of this pile of characters. I mean, how could you not look at his helmet?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the design calls to you.
I keep having meetings with Lucasfilm, like high level editorial people going, why are we not doing more?
Oh, I know.
Please, we're asking that on the low level too. Come on.
We're like the barnacles on like the side of the ship, just like please.
That is what keeps the ship afloat, though. Is like
keep pushing
this stuff and go, look, they've got the helmet in their logo. It's
keep pushing, and we'll keep pushing. That's
we're gonna keep pushing, and like a show like Skeleton Crew, it's like I'm really half expecting. Like we always talk about cameos, and Star Wars fans are always like, who's gonna appear this time and this time? Like it usually ends up being nobody, but Sidon Athano would be the perfect kind of character to appear in something like this and get some more screen time, as well as we want him to get more screen time. We want him to get more lore time in writing as well. But
I want to see the crew in the background. I want to see them. Across, we see them somewhere. I don't know if I want them to get into a certain. I have so much of it mapped out in my head. I know what I want to do with all of them, but I want to see them there, and I want to see them in live action so bad. I mean, the ones we haven't seen already from that crew.
Right.
That would be super funny if they're just like in the background, like they are. Well, like Sidon and Quiggle are at least in The Force Awakens. If they're just kind of like there, and it's just like, look at those guys lurking around in the back. Anyway, I mean, like we'll get into it talking about episode 2, but like Port Borgo doesn't really seem quite like their scene, but it might have passed.
Borgo, you don't think they're hanging out at Borgo eating the
Oh,
weird crab noodles?
They've been there.
They've been.
But as we're talking about it, I wanted to pull up this image. This was concept art for The Mandalorian.
Yes.
And that's like exactly what we're looking at right there is on the left there is Quiggold and Sidon Athano.
They're kind of everywhere.
Yeah, so they could
should
pop up.
be.
I mean,
yeah.
They're comfortable in all different settings. Like they code switch very easily like into different conditions, is what I'm gonna say.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
100%.
But yeah, so we'll get to talking about the show. We definitely wanted to talk about Sidon there as much as we can. I'm sure he'll come up again at some point, as he naturally does. But
he always does.
We're kind of have a new little format here going around. It's kind of the same but a little different. But Matt's going to be president of the question of the week now.
Hi, I'm president.
So, Matt, what is your amazing question of the week for all of us?
So there were two. One was more silly than the other one, but I think I'll go with the more serious one. Aside from Sidon Athano, whose pirate crew would you want to serve on? Who do you think is the most fun to be a pirate under?
That's a great question. I would not. I know we've said Jabba the Hutt is a pirate for sure, right? I wouldn't want to work for him. That'd be
no. He feeds his guards to the Rancor and stuff. Like that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
No, yeah, I would definitely be Rancor food if I worked for him. I feel.
Oh, 100%. I'm falling into that pit, just like cleaning the floors. He's not bothering to get me out of there, so no way.
This is hard. You came in with a good one. I want to work for Sidon Athano. I feel like he'd be fair, and
that's why I said no, because he's like probably the best one to serve under by far.
I'll go Hondo. I mean, maybe we're all. I don't want to steal a good one from everyone, but he's kind of an ass. But I feel like he has a fun time with his. He gets nicer with his older age in Rebels, and then and so on. But I guess I'll say Hondo. I'll steal everyone's answer.
That wasn't my answer.
Not mine.
Not mine either. So
I'm glad then.
I'll jump in really quick. So like I would make my own pirate crew. Well, kind of, but she doesn't really lead a crew. But I would go with Maz and whatever her crew in the past was.
Okay. Always had a crew, so that's fine.
Honestly, even if it is just like chilling in the castle, like working with like her doing like the business there at the castle, that's fine. I would work with Maz.
Okay. That's a good answer. I'm surprised you didn't pick Sonara, though Sonara's not really a captain.
Yes, she's not a captain. She'd be on the team. That's for sure.
She would be on the team. All right, Landry, what do you got?
Okay, I'm blanking on the character's name, but he's clearly a pirate. The operator of the diner in Attack of the Clones.
Oh, Dex. Dexter Jetster.
He's clearly a pirate.
He's clearly been a pirate in a past.
He sort of was.
Yeah.
In High Republic.
In the High Republic, he was actually a pirate.
I'm behind on stuff. I have no idea that I didn't even know he was in it. And I'm also going to say that Strono Tugs served on his crew. That's sure. They both shared. They bonded over food.
Let's do it.
We'll go with that. They bonded over food preparation in the pirate world.
Oh yeah, two legendary culinary-oriented pirates.
Yeah,
I'm going to be on that ship. There's good food.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Good food.
See, that's a great answer. Wow,
it is a great answer.
Oh, Matt, what did you have for?
Speaking of great food, Gorian Shard. I think that man. I think he's a good captain. We don't see
he's
him.
a good salad, is what you're saying.
I think he's a good salad. I think he's a very healthy option.
Is that the character's name from The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I actually love the way he looked.
Yes, thank you.
So fun.
He was so good. Why did they kill him?
Star Wars.
We liked him.
I'm 100% they killed him off way too prematurely. I will continue to complain about that till the end of the earth.
Groot wise, like he'll regrow.
I really
want. He's like Groot.
I'm telling you.
He might have hit eject on before he crashed.
Yeah, anything. Something, please. I'm in denial. I'm still in denial. But Gorian Shard, I think his crew seems pretty, like, I don't want to say chill, but they seem like they're like living the high life. Like they show up to Navarro and they're like, oh, we still own this place. Like we're gonna have a drink. We're gonna like party it up. We're like hanging out. Seems like a good life. Yeah. Seem like they're doing well for themselves too. So yeah, I'm going with good old Gorian. Just I friggin' love him. I will always pick him for any pirate answer. That's predictable.
You do love him. You need to get like a T-shirt with him on it. I'm sorry if you don't have one.
I really do. Something that just says like Avast Mandalorian or something like that.
Right. All right. Well, good one, Matt. That was good. Good to kick off your.
Glad I debuted my question of the week segment with a good one.
Very strong. We'll move on to a new thing I created, posts of the week. And this is something. There you go. Dramatic.
Woo!
I kind of wanted to involve the things we see on the internet because, like, obviously the internet can be a terrible place and really annoying, but there's a lot of good on the internet, and I want to highlight those funny things in the Star Wars community that we come across. We send them to each other. Oh, hey, look at this. This is funny, or this is a good thought, or something like that.
Hey, look at this.
Hey, take a look at this. So I have a few little screen caps that we took from our favorite posts this week. Maybe some friends will appear in there, maybe not. So this first one, I don't even know what order this is in. So
that's exactly what I said.
Yes,
dude, everybody said
all
it.
of us did.
Everybody said it.
Oh
that's why this was so good.
It was perfect.
So Kylo Ren's in this. Literally looked like a young Ben Solo for sure.
Honestly, get that kid to play a young Ben Solo in a future project because holy crap.
No, I think that this kid should be a one-hit wonder. That he says the one line and that's it.
His voice was really good too.
He was so good.
I noticed he also has his jacket inside out like Fern did.
It must be like a biker culture, yeah.
Look at them.
The biker culture on Atten. It's pretty strong.
Atten. So our next one is just from Chad. Seeing how Chad's doing over on
good old Chad
here. Skeleton Crew is the feel-good show of the winter. I 100% agree.
I can agree with that.
Good feels.
I need something like this winter.
Oh, I know.
So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Up next, this is
what
Elder
it feels
Elzar
like to be
Man.
Neil.
Yeah, so this is Filoni at the premiere, and then the voice actor for Neil in the background behind him, I guess. So
he did the full acting. I saw like not just like the voice, like he was like on set, and they had like it was some suit and it was some like a headset type thing.
Oh,
like to capture his like
a
facial.
Jar Jar situation.
Kinda a bit of both.
Okay.
So there's a mix, but he was fully on set.
I'll have to see those pictures. So next we have so these are like some more serious ones, I guess. But like this, we'll get to the planet at Atten, but like there's a lot of stuff going on there that like I thought about this. They do know about the Jedi, but do they know like of the other ongoings in the galaxy?
No,
doesn't seem like it.
Doesn't seem like it, and it's very
interesting.
And then this one from Brian Ward, who does a lot of great graphics. He does graphics for Star Wars Explained. So he made this pirate flag with Neil on it, and that describes my week.
He's so beautiful. He's wonderful.
And then before we move on, I had to highlight Matt's guy here, Rumsflag. He's right here.
Nothing to do with Skeleton Crew.
That's my favorite post of the week.
There he is.
Good old
Rumslag and Gorian Shard.
Oh,
so anyways, there's a little that's what's going on our social media feed. Those posts right there. But Jamie, let's head to the Skeleton Crew breakdown. Let's talk about this show finally.
All right, cool. So, I mean, like we normally do the way we do show breakdowns, since we're doing 2 episodes, we'll talk about the first episode, talk about the second one after that. We'll try to keep it in order of the way things happen, but things might get like all mixed up at the same time. Because that's just always how it goes. So, Skeleton Crew episode 1 was this could be an adventure, and I love how the episodes were named after just random quotes in the episodes. It was something when I was rereading them, I was like, oh yeah, they probably are. And then doing like the rewatch, that was something that Wim said pretty early on in the episode. This could be an adventure. So we got Skeleton Crew, and it's a kind of opening crawl. It's just like the 3 sentences about pirates, which I just absolutely loved. And
I really like these kind of opening crawls that they've been doing in the shows. Like, they're not the theatrical ones, of course. I like saving those for the movies, maybe. But I like these little ones that just give us a little glimpse, kind of like Solo did, and then a little bit of epic music playing, and they've been good.
A little bit of epic music. I mean, let's talk about that immediately.
The Giacchinos, Mick Giacchino.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It set the tone outright so well.
Perfectly.
It's Mick Giacchino this time, and it's just like, oh my god, it's just I'm obsessed with it already. Like everything, it's like all the kids, they have like their like whimsical like discovery type like music, and then the pirates have like the most like hurdy-gurdy piratey you ever heard in your life, and it's like, please, I'm so like ready for it. It's just the music immediately has just like set the tone in such a proper way.
Yeah, for sure. And the kids suite, they released the kids suite like with all the different like themes put together. Awesome. I've been listening to that on repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the score has been great. The soundtrack, the score. It's a good balance of like ET 80s kids situation music. I don't know what you call that. And then like piratey music combined. So it was really good. It's very Goonies, right?
Exactly. And that's the tone they're trying to go for, and they're nailing it completely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's very the other like song business like as well, like they obviously released today the full I can't pull it up properly now, but the lyric video for Youngie Whim, so Major Tom.
Oh, did they? Oh, you sent that.
Yeah,
right.
I sent it to you guys. And so that was it was the Huttese version of Major Tom, which was in the trailer earlier, but they dropped it today. And it's just so fun to listen to.
It's so funny.
Like
it's so good just thinking about musicians sitting in a studio singing an entire song seriously, like wholeheartedly in Huttese. It's just that's just so funny.
Music in Star Wars.
Like, it's serious business.
I talk about it all the time. Of like, it's like synthwave specifically like fits Star Wars so well, and so when you can pluck an 80s song like Major Tom and just stick it into Star Wars, and it's just like that's.
Was that an 80s song? Isn't it? I think that's 70s.
Might be 70s. I'm sorry.
We're showing our younger age, I guess. I don't know.
Thank you for correcting me on the one thing. It's all good.
We needed that. We need that.
Let's reel it back in. So something that AJ mentioned to me like immediately, once the episode was over, was something of how the episode was super similar. So not only the very opening scene was similar to not only A New Hope and like Rogue One, but it was also like not shot for shot, but super similar to the opening of the TV show Black Sails, of the way that it begins, complete with like a little like opening crawl to like set the mood, and then it's a pirates boarding a ship. And then that's how we got this starting for Skeleton Crew. Yeah. Man, what a way to set the tone.
Moving over.
And the rating of the ship looked so cool with the little like tubes of the people running through them. It was
the tubes just like bursting through the walls.
Yeah.
It's like, terrifying. It's utterly terrifying.
Not just like bursting through the walls, but you see like mechanical claws like literally harpooning their way in, and it's just incredible.
And then you setting the tone. It sets the tone. Like we go from that. If you don't have that, and we just go into these kids at school, we're not going to have that. We need that bite in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
And it really successfully did that. I mean, just a really effective opening scene.
And it felt like something straight out of your most recent, I think it was the most recent Crimson Corsair comic, with just like, obviously there's pirates and all the ongoings there, and conflict, and it felt like something straight out of that. And we haven't seen piracy like that on screen in Star Wars, to my knowledge, like maybe in a video game or something, but like it reminded me of the High Republic with the Nihil. It reminded me of Landry's comic with the pirates we see there. So like to see it on screen with the piratey music, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is real. But
so like,
it was great.
Leading into this, like we talked about it the other day on the Ray side, chatting with Hannah, of what are we like looking forward to the most in Skeleton Crew. And honestly, what I was looking forward to the most was seeing another subset of like Star Wars that isn't necessarily the rebellion or the Empire. It's what's going on with just like a bunch of pirates.
Or even smugglers. These guys aren't smugglers. There's a different vibe to it. There's a different feel to it than just simply criminals,
Yeah.
They're criminals.
They're criminals, but the pirate criminals feel different than like
criminals with charm.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of levels of different kinds of like criminal activity, right? And pirates is such a specific but very important one. It's nice to see it, the classic pirate, the proper pirate, showcased here. As we reach this point, I remember in 2015 taking note that anytime anyone had a character that was neither a a Jedi or a Sith or Empire or Rebel. They were a bounty hunter. People just want to designate everyone. That's a bounty hunter. Like you see Constable Zuvio show up in the clip of his trailer. That must be some new bounty hunter. There's room for non-bounty hunters, and we need the film and the television shows, the live action ones that people really focus on to showcase that, so people stop thinking of Star Wars in such limited terms. There's all sorts of factions out there, and exploring it is really important.
It's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like the Mandalorian kind of started that, like, as well, of showing, like, additionally. So, like, obviously the main character was a bounty hunter, is a bounty hunter, but like that expanded to show, hey, there's more to Mandalorians than just bounty hunting as that show progressed. And so, like, now we're gonna get that with Skeleton Crew of there's more to, like, these random people in the galaxy than just you see.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're still in the opening scene, guys. So it's Captain Silvo.
Captain Silvo.
100% Jude Law.
100%. This is 100% like a Long John Silver.
Long John Silvo.
Yeah, Long John Silvo. I mean, literally, this is a Long John Silver Treasure Island thing. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I need to sit down and watch Treasure. I watched Treasure Planet less than a year ago, and I was like, this movie's fantastic. I'm gonna watch it again at some point in the next few weeks, just to get like my space pirate fill. And
I'm
prepare
okay with that,
myself for
though.
this twist. I am too.
Yeah, like
You're okay with what?
That it being like a Treasure Island type adventure.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like
Star Wars is always taken from other stories, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a combination of every greatest story ever told.
I saw someone have this point that I don't always agree with what they say, but they're not like they have some good takes. And then what they said the other day was recently some Star Wars work has sort of I don't know what the word is, but like sort of lived off of itself rather than being inspired by outside work. Whereas like original old Star Wars was inspired by outside work. And then they said Skeleton Crew, the first 2 episodes felt very inspired by other work, of course. E.T., Treasure Island, Goonies. Like, I don't know what your guys thoughts on that.
We listed off so many things already. Like,
yeah. Whereas some of these other shows, well, I've definitely liked them, kind of just feel like maybe not the same kind of deal as this is with that inspired by outside works. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a good take.
I think you're 100% right. Star Wars.
Right.
To make something feel like Star Wars, you have to keep infusing it. Show us that kind of story in a Star Wars universe. Show us a pirate story, a heist story. Don't continually self-reference. It just becomes a feedback loop. We've already seen those, and then it's just becomes derivative of itself, and that's not nearly as interesting. But you can make really good Star Wars, and I think we have a really good example of that brewing with this show, just by doing what they did originally, which is looking to things that aren't Star Wars that you really like and doing a Star Wars version of that, which is with that book that I wrote. That was the whole point when I sat down with Mike Siglain at Lucasfilm. We're like, let's just tap into tell a Star Wars story, each one in a different genre, and get the classical elements of that genre, which is why the Crimson Corsair story is really a very straightforward treasure hunt story.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be set in Star Wars with Star Wars twists and Star Wars characters and Star Wars feelings, but it is still a non-Star Wars pirate story. You could take it, you could put it in a completely non-Star Wars setting, and it can still work.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's a perfect example.
And like with Skeleton Crew so far as well, they're doing 2 episodes, and they're already doing a really successful job of taking the outside influence, but also taking the influences from within Star Wars as well. We'll get to all of those like additional references that make it super Star Wars as well that we weren't expecting. But we'll get to that. Okay, let's shift gears a little. Let's talk about Atin.
Yes, that's such a good mystery, such a fantastic setup for like a twist. That I am totally intrigued by.
So it's an isolated world with a barrier around it that is some sort of natural barrier. It's definitely not something that's like generated by something else, at least not to our knowledge. I don't think they would have been able to slip through it that quickly. But there's a barrier around this planet. No one gets in, no one gets out. And it's a little funky, isn't it?
It is. And the whole planet is just like a dead suburban world, like very
it's spooky.
boring, very like cookie cutter, by the books.
It's bad.
Straight laced, like
it's really bad.
Yeah,
it looks
proper.
just like
you don't get a choice on what you're going to be.
No,
you take
a
test.
Bad world.
The droids teaching and policing, just it feels so suppressive
and
awful.
Oh, go ahead, Landry.
I was gonna say I did a comic of the old in Disney Adventures for 7 years called Kid Gravity, and it was this group of this school of kids on a space station being taught by robot teachers. And there's always the secret of it that we never outright said, but if you actually pay attention, there's something sinister going on about these floating robot teachers that all look like TVs, like manipulating these children in some direction. And that was, so I obviously have a fondness of that. And there's something just wrong with this world.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's pretty dystopian, like outright, which is because like it's shown to be like everyone's kind of happy-go-lucky and like they don't have any worries, but at the same time it is like it is something else is going on like under the surface.
A little I just want to say a little note I made was all the speeders are on tracks.
I know.
So
it just shows like they have no freedom really. Like, they're all on a track on their
right. It's just back and forth in like the one direction. Or that's it. It reminded me a lot of the original plans for Epcot. I don't know if you guys have ever gone down like a deep dive about that, but the boiled down simply is Walt Disney wanted to make a prototype community. That's what Epcot was supposed to be, not a theme park.
That's what it stands for.
Literally. And so
vibes.
It looks like it though. Like if you ever like look into like what like that initial, there's tons of video essays out there. You can get lost for forever about this. But like it looks like that though. Everyone who lives there needs to contribute. So his plan was, I'm serious, this was an actual plan he tried to put into place. And then everyone else on the board was like, well, you can't do this. But like he wanted to set up a community where everything was controlled within the community, and people who lived there all had to have a job that benefited the community. If you weren't working, you weren't allowed to live there. Right. It was like this like weird like setup. It was
like almost
that.
like a corporate town. It was almost like a corporate town.
It was
like
very,
a Fallout vault.
Yeah. And then like, so I'm getting the Fallout references. We'll get to the Fallout references. And like the transportation system also reminded me a lot of the way that it was set up in like the original Epcot plans. Like again, like it's something if you ever need to deep dive into, look into that. But it's very similar. So that definitely some inspiration there.
The people
sorry to derail us, no pun intended, but
you can't do that on Atten.
No, you can't. I wouldn't survive.
I don't like the name. I don't like the name Atten.
So
I don't either. I don't really.
It sounds like At.
So funny enough, I was watching a clip that the Sky Talkers posted, and they got a chance to chat with the show creators, and they brought up, hey, why did you name it Atten? Was it like a play on people saying AT versus at? And they literally were like, huh, you know, I never really thought about it actually until you just said it out loud to me. So it was definitely something that was like in their head that was like a subconscious thinking.
They didn't give an answer.
So they didn't give an answer, unfortunately, but they kind of like what they ended up like referencing was how in the past, like George Lucas has said, like everyone pronounces things differently because you're from different places in the galaxy anyway. The whole like Han Solo thing. Mm-hmm. So like it is what it is.
Gungans.
But Atten it's funny.
It reminds me of the old name for Coruscant way back in the day, before Coruscant was even named. It used to be Had Abaddon. It used to be like the name for the imperial capital of the galaxy. And Atten just kind of has that like same like Had Abaddon vibe. Like you just kind of scribbled down syllables and just put them together and then just made a planet name.
Yeah.
Because like, what does that mean? What is it's so random. And I mean, it also kind of really sounds like Adelon, which bothered me. But then SM33 brings up Adelon later, and I was like, hey, thank you. Like,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's what one of the best writer tricks is. You know, if you know something is too close, you acknowledge it.
Yeah,
you it's a wink nod to the reader or viewer that yes, I know, and now you know, and you know I know, so it's okay because we're all acknowledging this thing.
Is that that's like lamp shading, right? Or like a form, like a very very light form of lamp shading, would you say?
I've never heard the term lampshading.
I don't know that one either.
Lampshading is kind of like
Sounds like
when like a
gaslighting.
writer. No, it's not. It's not like
No,
gaslighting.
it sounds similar though.
It's basically like when a writer acknowledges that they're using a trope.
Yes,
and
yeah,
like the
similar to
characters in the thing will be like, oh well, you know, if we're in a horror movie, we shouldn't split up, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah, you do. It's that, or it's like you know, something unbelievable occurs and you have all the characters going, that was unbelievable, and then the audience goes, okay, well, they know it too.
That's lampshading. Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, I'm just unfamiliar with the term. It's I remember I learned that from the comic book writer Peter David back in like 1990.
Wow,
cool. It was a trick. I'm like, oh, that's a good trick. I'm gonna use that. I use that one a lot.
I'll have to go back and look for it in some of your work.
So what?
There's one in Quiggle does one. When
the recent comic.
In that first story, when he's like the whole thing about there being another sand world.
Okay, yeah.
Readers will be like, another sand world, and he goes, yeah, another sand world.
I love that.
I remember that.
Perfect. Yeah.
Jeez, yeah. Okay. So the kids are highly on their schedule. They take the bus to school, and the buses are driven by these RX droids, the Rex droids, the little pilot droids.
We
always love to see them, and they're getting picked on with like the kids like shoving like gum on the back of his head.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely covered in gum.
Brilliant.
Star Wars gum. Is that the first time we've seen gum in Star Wars?
I mean, I guess.
I think so.
Sure.
Big deal. Big
Unless
deal.
there was something
We
in
got
like
Space
Clone Wars.
Trident.
Something that gum had to show up in Clone Wars.
They had soda in Clone Wars or
They
something.
did.
They must have gum.
Did you say gum? Sorry.
But yeah,
when the buses arrive, I don't know if you guys heard this, Matt, you probably heard this, but when the buses arrive and the doors open at the school, it's literally the little like Star Tours like jingle.
Yep. And I'm like hardwired, programmed to hear that
like,
all the time, and I immediately perked up. That was perfect.
That was just a fun little reference in there, but yeah. So the school is like ran by these droids, a combination of the like security camera head droids and these ones that are like nanny droids that kind of look like the maid from the Jetsons.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what she
They do.
like
You're right. The one at what's her name's
Fern's
house? Fern's house.
Yeah.
That
She
had, like,
definitely
that rolled on the wheel,
Yeah.
like a singular wheel. Yeah, I can totally see that.
But we have like this droid teaching a math class, and it also just seems that the droids, and not just the droids, but it seems like all they're learning at school is math and accounting. And when I was just like re-listening to it, first of all, I would have suffered in this school.
Are you kidding?
Suffered. Like I can only imagine the kids who like can't like do like Wim that are
Like
struggling
Wim.
to,
Wim. Like we're
count,
Wim.
just like, oh my god, what's going on
God,
at school?
I could
It seems
never.
like yeah. But the teacher droid mentioned something about financials within the barrier versus beyond the barrier, and so they're already like planting like the seeds in there about there's something going on at Atin about the money specifically that they take great pride in, and it's just like, well, what's going on with it further? So file that away for later. They're teaching the kids in school very early on that the money isn't really, really important. Which brings us to the great work.
The great work.
Why?
What's
What
the
a
great
phrase.
work?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's that phrase is used in the High Republic. It's one of
Yes.
Lena So's initiatives, the great work. So
Okay.
Well, there's many of the great works for Lena So, but
Yeah.
I guess it brings up the conversation of, so what republic do we think that they are operating in at this point in time?
So I think
Well,
when the
what's
pirates
this?
say Old Republic, I think they're using it in the same way that Obi-Wan uses it in A New Hope, where it's just like we're talking about the Republic of old.
The prequel Republic.
The prequel Republic, the pre-Empire Republic. Now, whether or not that means, the prequel era itself or, before the prequel era, High Republic, I would not be surprised if that ends up being the case.
Yeah.
So I'd assume older than the prequels, at least, if High Republic, at least, if not older, based alone on the fact they keep saying Old Republic and that they keep saying, not saying, the tech that they show, like Wim's like data pad and like everything on the tracks and whatnot. And just the way that the technology is like in like that school, it's definitely not the same kind of technology that you're seeing during the prequel era. Like they have like data pads and whatnot, but they're different because these ones are pretty much like they flip.
Yeah,
which
I thought
is,
that was really cool.
It was really cool.
They're almost like they have some depth to them.
So yeah. So it's funny, in the original Star Trek series, they only used like these big boxy TV screens. And so a retcon later down the line was that they were actually boxes that produced 3D holograms within those boxes. And that's what you're actually seeing when you look at the screens. And I feel like that's exactly what they were doing in Skeleton Crew. It's like it's a 3D hologram projected inside the iPad rather than just a flat screen, because you could see there's depth in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, so like these are like hologram pads, but they don't produce like a 3D hologram in the air. They're like producing it like inside the machine. I thought that was really interesting.
Like a pop-up book.
Like a pop-up book. Yeah. That's cool. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But to go back to the like, I mean, that is very interesting, and it's a nice touch they've done. But if they're living off of the High Republic somehow, or like do we think they think they're in the High Republic?
Yeah. I think they think that, you know, nothing's changed. The galaxy is as status quo as it's been for the last 800 so years, if we're talking High Republic.
If you look at the Jedi pictures, the picture pop-up book of that Wim has, Jedi look like Jedi, but they kind of give that vibe of like concept art of the High Republic or something to me. I don't know.
Yeah, very adventurous. And we know that, you know, there are hollows about the Jedi during the High Republic, and that, you know, people in the galaxy know about the Jedi as these like great warriors, and
that would have been like when they would write that story.
Yeah,
not during
exactly.
like, the Clone Wars and like, you know, there's wars going on. I wouldn't think.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So it has to be, at the very least, he's reading old stories about the Jedi.
Interesting.
Yeah. All of that. I think that also, I don't know, Ad is definitely like isolated as it is. I mean, the people who might know what's going on further are the undersecretary and whoever she answers
undersecretary. What an awful name. I would never want to be an undersecretary. What the hell does that mean?
She's the second in command under the secretary.
Gross.
Assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I gotta say, like, while I was like rewatching it, I was trying to figure out who the actress was for the longest time, and so it's Carrie Condon, and I was looking into that further. She was Kaylee's mom in Better Call Saul, and I'm like, I knew it.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So she was also in something else.
Trying to place her.
God, that's gonna kill
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, she was a skeleton
undersecretary. But she's an interesting character so far. Let's talk about her before we get into like get to talking about the kids, I guess, which is gonna take forever.
She weirds me out.
So the undersecretary, she arrives at school talking about the big exam, the big test.
The big test.
And she's all business. And then once she is home talking to her daughter, Fern, she kind of just, you know, it's like she's like not quite like lost hope for her daughter, but it's more so she's like, she knows she's like kind of losing her and like losing her connection with her. And that's just like rough to watch because she can't.
I will say this,
you know,
I will say this. Wim has a single father. Fern has a single mother.
Yeah.
That's a very classic setup. The parents looking for their kids, falling in love, being like, oh, hey.
Come on.
They're not going to fall.
I'm just saying.
While you're on that, though, I don't want to go away from the Fern thing, but you brought it up perfectly. Like, I love the family dynamics they have, and
everyone's families.
Well, Wim and Fern are like, I hate this place. It's boring. I want to go somewhere. And then obviously Neil, who we love. Neil is amazing. We like to Neil.
We love Neil. His
family's very loving. The three kids, the three siblings watching the thing from Holiday Special.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to go on any adventures. He's happy where he is because he's comfortable and in his big bathtub and everything.
Oh my God, what a bathtub! What huge. A world!
No wonder he didn't want.
They're not suffering.
No, they're definitely
he's
not.
good. He's content. I can't.
I just love that there are so many blue elephant species in Star Wars. Why is that like the evolutionary thing that you just end up becoming a blue elephant? I love that.
Wait, is he not the same species?
He's not an Ortolan. No.
No?
Apparently not.
They very heavily said he's not an Ortolan. Like they've gone out of their way to say that like everywhere he's not an Ortolan.
He's another blue elephant.
He's just another blue elephant.
Don't even get me started on the blue elephant from Captain EO, which now connects to the show as well. And then it's like, why are there all these blue elephants? What's going on?
I'm out of touch with the Captain EO thing. I need to.
You need to watch Captain EO, dude.
Reel it back in.
It will change your life.
Reel
it back in. We're still on at in chat, guys. I'm sorry.
Just like the kids. Well, not anymore. Just like the parents.
So I forget what I was actually just gonna say.
Fern.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't ready to talk about that. All the classrooms, the great work, and the test. I want to talk about the test.
Awful.
So we have this test, which is going to influence your entire life, what your career is going to be. That's just super dystopian.
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
It's literally like you live and you die for your job, which is what Wim's dad is doing, obviously.
A job you don't even choose.
Yeah, based on a test when you're maybe like 12. But yeah,
I was just gonna say when the episode first started, I was kind of making it's interesting to see his non-dystopian, like the suburbs and all this, and then slowly watching, going, oh no, it's dystopian, just different.
It's a very quickly dystopian.
Very different kind of dystopian. But all the worlds in Star Wars always are somehow. So
yeah.
It's like a well-oiled machine dystopian though. Like most people are just like complicit and like content with it. They're not, because they don't have any like exterior threat. I mean, especially for Atin, since they're literally barricaded into this planet, they don't have an external threat. So like it's not like they have anything to worry about because no one else is going anywhere.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah.
But yeah, it was super.
Were you going to get to the Fallout test?
Yeah, I was just going to say it was super Fallout test, super the goat test of hey, there it is. Literally, and it'll determine
occupational aptitude tests.
It'll determine what your career will be.
That's fantastic.
I don't know, for those unfamiliar with Fallout, especially what the vaults are, the people in the vault, you live in the vault, you die in the vault, and so you have to. It's literally a situation like this. You're born, you're going to get tested on what your abilities are, and then you're going to get placed into some sort of role. And that's it. Can't change unless like something catastrophic happens, but like,
which it usually does.
That's how it goes.
The dad was such a stiff as well.
He was such a dweeb.
Wendell with his
his name?
Yeah, I think it was Wendell.
No.
Of course it'd be Wendell.
It was Wendell.
When the ship is taking off and his kid is hanging there, I really thought he was going to yell that you're in so much trouble.
Yeah. I got to go to work. Can you come back?
He had the full moment of realization when the ship was leaving of, oh my God, I have let things get too far and I'm just totally out of touch.
No kidding. I will say, very big deal. Glasses representation.
Yes.
In Star Wars. First time ever we've seen like a character just like the Imperial guy, what's his name?
Pershing?
Al's Toy Barn guy from
Rebels.
Oh no.
Your favorite.
He wears glasses.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, I think this guy's like the first person who like wears casual glasses.
Pershing. Dr. Pershing.
Oh, well, Pershing, yeah. I always saw those as like more like lab glasses than glasses.
He wears them everywhere.
They're like tinted. They're like sunglasses almost. But you're right. Like Pershing wears them.
Tech?
This is like a civilian. Oh, tech. Those are goggles. I'm not.
He never takes them off though.
Although I will say,
I don't know.
These glasses are goggles too, because geez, Louise, talk about Coke bottles. those things were insane.
I know,
and they were huge. They're like this big.
You forgot about a huge glasses person, Maz.
Okay, but yeah, I guess
those are goggles.
Those are goggles again. I think there's a distinction between glasses and goggles.
Right. Okay.
So
we can talk about glasses.
So Wim's dead. I love how we've talked about like every single character except the
Wim.
kids. Is it really Wendell?
Yeah, it's Wendell. The subtitle said Wendell yells or something.
That's
an absolute tragedy.
I have a friend named Wendell. I'm gonna make fun of him now.
Yeah.
So Wendell is very like, he's worried he's gonna lose his job and everything just due to everything, and he's just such an inattentive father, and it's even, you get the gut punch of, oh, can you read me a bedtime story like mom used to, and he's literally just like, No.
I gotta work.
Yeah,
What the hell do you mean? Really? Like even my
Way to
mom
bury
scoffed
your
at that line.
trauma there, my dude. Like, what happened to the mom where he has to like stuff it down like so hard?
She
Like,
realized she was married to Wendell.
Oh, sad. Yeah, honestly, like it almost makes me wonder. Like this person, clearly people die prematurely of presumably preventable diseases. People wear glasses. Like, what kind of world is this?
I mean, I think she's just in a different town. She left, but
Oh yeah,
I mean, maybe that would
like-
maybe make more sense.
I feel like that wouldn't be allowed on a place like that. Adam. I feel like that's like
Yeah.
You
bad.
fill out enough paperwork, you never know.
You're right. You're right.
All right. Let's talk about the kids. So let's talk
Finals.
about Wim first. When we're finally here. So Wim is our main character, right?
You love Wim.
And
Love
I
Wim.
do. I love Wim.
he's super fun. I like him. He has just like the whimsical like dreams of like wanting to have an.
That's literally. I bet they were just like, we need a whimsical character. Oh, he's Wim.
Wim.
He was the most relatable for sure to me. Like,
Oh yeah. Of course.
I think
Didn't
that like
want to do homework.
I think that each kid honestly is like super relatable, like in a different way. Because like I felt relatable to like a few of the other ones, but like I definitely understand everything with Wim. He's just like dreaming for more. I just love it so much. I gotta read my notes. My notes are absolutely everywhere right now. Excuse me.
as
Dude,
they
RIP.
as they have to be.
That's
They
literally
always
like
are.
the only way you can die prematurely on this planet. Infected paper cut, because everything's just paper.
Rusty data pad. So Wim and his best friend Neil, who's like his like neighbor, and so they have like the two totally different like family dynamics. But
Yeah.
Neil is also just like the perfect like just like little kid who's just like happy go lucky, not a care in the world, takes school seriously, but also like not a care in the world.
Yeah.
He's just a good little guy.
He's a good little guy.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny like going into the show, everyone who just like saw like the visuals was just like, oh, Neil's gonna be the one, and like we didn't know anything about him yet, but no, really, Neil is
Neil's
the
the
one.
one.
Neil's the one.
He's just
He's
he's
we're
a
talking
good
about the
little kid.
obvious Ortolan, right?
the obvious Ortolan that's
Yes,
not an
yes.
I
Ortolan.
don't care what they say. I'm sorry. I have to circle back to that. That's an Ortolan.
Okay,
He's
I
not,
will
though.
say, some people were a little disappointed if he was an Ortolan that he had arms, right? Because Ortolans, they're a little inconsistent with it in canon currently, but
Yeah.
most Ortolans seem to not have any arms. They seem to just be like blobs with legs, little guys,
Yeah, just
little
legs. That
So
has
I guess
gone
they really
back and
couldn't have
forth.
that. It has.
But I mean, okay, if that is not an Ortolan, that is an offshoot of the Ortolan species.
Yeah.
Just like
Yep.
what with the Zabrek or whatever, and the is that what it is?
Iridonians.
Yeah,
Iridonians and the
those are-
Zabraks, yeah.
Clearly, they at some point their species diverge, but we're talking a Vulcan Romulan thing here, which actually leads me to some issues I had with that character, simply because the hearing thing. He
The
should
hearing
have
thing?
super crazy sensitive hearing.
He should. Instead, he's
that-
just like laying his ear against the like
Yeah.
door. He's just,
And
like,
when she
flapping
hits
it up.
that thing, the first I'm thinking like, oh no, you
Yeah,
just
that should have like killed
really
him.
hurt him.
his head should have popped.
Negative
I mean-
50 HP.
And if an Ortolan goes deaf, they go insane. That's a thing.
That's a thing.
That's
Wow.
a thing. Hence, in my book, the Mad Ortolan.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
Of
what a
course.
callback.
So
That's-
Okay.
bring it
So there you
back.
go. So maybe it's good. It's a good thing that Neil isn't an Ortolan.
He's
Because
Maybe
that
that's
would
why
have
they
been
were so hell bent on saying he's not, because they were like, we can't do this to this poor kid. Offshoot of Neil, I love how many aliens are on at Atin. Like a good assortment of aliens too. Like
Luna.
like
Luna.
We
that
love
was so
her.
cute.
It is. It's
Um,
hilarious.
Like it's like I said, like Neil is just a perfect like little kid of not a
reminds
care in
me
the
of, like,
world. He even has like a little childhood crush. It's just like it's just so.
Oh, Matt, you'll
cute.
like this one. He's Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron.
He is Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. That's a perfect description.
Or Ned from Spider-Man. He's
okay.
that kind of
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
I
You're right.
saw
That-
someone
that
do a
makes sense.
comparison with that of Neil and Wim, and then Ned and Peter, because again, it's John Watts. So like,
yeah.
Some people were saying he's Milhouse, but he's not Milhouse because his family loves him, and Milhouse's family does not love him at all.
So Neil's family. Okay, so
I loved Neil's family.
It's like rare to see like a full family, first of all, in Star Wars, like a full family, like 4 kids, both parents. Like that's not a thing, but it is a thing for Neil.
Yeah. They're all good.
The twins and little baby Tolu, of course. It's just so funny that like anytime that Neil like has to like mention something about his family, he's just like, what about the twins and little baby Tolu? Like every time it's always little baby Tolu, not
They're
just
all babies,
like,
though.
I know.
like siblings.
Like what's going on there?
I don't know. One of them's
Short
a littler
gestation
baby,
period.
I guess. It's just a perfect little like crew. Okay.
How did you guys
Women
feel
Neil.
about
them playing with like Star Wars toys essentially?
Yeah,
Oh,
with like
great.
the
That was
action
cool, right?
figures. I feel like
And
those
the
are
lightsaber
homemade,
duel.
right? Like, and the lightsaber. Although Neil didn't even have a lightsaber hilt. He was just using his hands.
Yeah.
They can build these amazing articulated droids, but their toys are just
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like those were homemade. I feel like he carved those or like made those in like a shop or like a garage or something. I feel like those aren't
Well, it
like
shows,
officially
you know?
licensed.
No bedtime stories, no toys. Like they just want kids to work.
dystopian.
Math and numbers.
Exactly.
No
So
toys.
like I think that checks out completely, that all the toys are really crudely handmade. It's like the kids made them themselves, because it is just all work and
Yeah,
count.
same with the lightsaber hilt that Wim makes, you know,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
I love, you know, because one of the things before the show came out that I read in an interview with the actor who plays Wim talked about how they wanted to do like in-universe Star Wars play, but since the kids don't really know or have never encountered a Jedi or have never seen Jedi things, they don't know what lightsabers sound like. They don't know like how they act or like anything like that. So like they were making the wrong sounds and they were like using the lightsabers like wrong. So I just really liked how like that little detail.
It's
Especially.
fun though. It's really fun though, because it just goes back to like there's no like wrong way to play with your toys as like a kid, unless you're like going out and just like breaking everything. But there's no
Sid from
way
Toy
like
Story.
wrong way
Yeah,
to play with
Sid.
their toys, and so I like to see how natural it was. All of the kids were like really good at just like being natural, being kids. Like it was
They
just
really
like very
were.
like refreshing to see.
Oh, the
like,
kids were great.
actor-wise.
All of the actors did a phenomenal job. They were legitimately phenomenal in their
Yeah.
roles. Great
Agreed.
job.
Let's switch over to the girls. So we have Fern, we've talked about a little bit, the rebellious daughter of the undersecretary, and it's just like perfect. The
undersecretary.
Fern might have low-key been my favorite of the kids.
Yeah.
I like
She's
Fern a
definitely the
lot.
most interesting because there's something going on there, right? She's like,
Yeah.
you know, rebel attitude there with the inside out jacket, but like
She's-
acting all proper for her mom. I don't know.
She's definitely out there trying to be something more than what her mom wants her to be. That's what it is. And it's I think that she's trying out the whole trying to be like a street racer, just to see if she likes it. And I don't think it quite fits her. I think she puts it on a bit too thick sometimes. But
Yeah.
she's gonna learn quickly, because like in episode 2, it really kind of like really falls apart at the seams for her, and she's just like, oh my god, there's actually a lot to learn. But being a street racer, of course, she's gonna race Bonj Falfa.
You mean Ben Solo?
Ben Solo.
But yeah,
Okay, so that was the name of the guy.
yeah,
okay.
and it's a. It should have been in the post of the week segment, but somebody pointed out it's a play on
Bob
Han Solo.
Falfa.
Harrison Ford's character in American
from
Graffiti.
American Graffiti. Okay,
Mhm.
that's awesome. That's another American Graffiti reference that I may or may not have noticed. I have to go back and rewatch the episode, but it looks like when they're flying through the city, her and KB on the speeder, they pass a building that looks to me like Mel's Diner, like a very like 50s outdoor diner
I
area.
didn't notice that.
I think I
don't
saw
know if
something about that.
might have been my imagination. It might have been there. I don't know. I have to rewatch.
This place was too boring to have a cool diner.
True.
It was boring, but it was like pretty dynamic at the same time. Like I have to like go back and like look at all the sad concrete buildings, just to like see what they actually all say.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then KB is helping her out with the speeder, and they need a new power converter. In which all good Star Wars stories start with I need a power converter. But I love KB. I think that for me personally, KB is the one that I relate to like the most, especially like as a kid. That's what I was like a lot of. Very quiet, very observant. Someone would tell me to say a joke or whatever, and I would do it, and then I'd be like, "I'm sorry, this person told me to do that." And like that really struck with like me. I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "I'm looking in the mirror, guys."
She was my favorite.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she's super cool.
I really enjoyed when they were when the boys were digging out the ship, and they make the little deal. Everybody makes the deal, and they're like, "Oh, the boys are so dumb," and then the girls are so dumb. Like I love this dynamic that they all have with each other.
Yeah. Amazingly
and
detailed there.
I love that it's two sets of best friends, pretty much. We have Neil and Wim and KB and Fern, and they both sets of them have been through like a lot already, it seems, and it's just fun to see them come together and actually be this like new unit. So I forgot I wrote that part down. So I love when all the kids. Do we have anything else to say about the kids? I'm sorry, my notes are everywhere, and it's hard to run the show, read my notes, and then get back to
Especially, I blame Lucasfilm for releasing 2 episodes.
Right?
We're off the track is enough. It's a lot.
There were 2 like meaty episodes too, so it's
thank
like,
God they did
rough.
because the way episode 1 ended, I was champing at the bit. I was dying for
maybe
for
people
episode.
should champ at the bit a little on that.
Yeah, I know.
You want people.
But honestly, I'm champing at the bit for episode 3, so
I agree.
guess you're right.
Like I think that they could have done the 1 episode wide drop. I think it would have been okay because the kids just suddenly like leaving jumped to light speed. Sure,
that would have been fine.
That's a really fun cliffhanger.
That's a good one.
When you're writing a comic, the right hand bottom corner of the spread, the very last panel on the 2-page spread, that's where you always gotta leave a little hook. That was a perfect hook, and it's not that they hook at the end of episode 2 was bad, but it was nothing compared to the hook at the end of episode 1.
Yeah. Where are they going? What's going to happen?
It was just an amazing ending, especially since, bear in mind, I, despite working on Star Wars stuff, in here and there, I do not watch trailers. I do not read spoilers. I do not read press releases. All I knew was the name of this show going in. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't know what it was about. I knew that, and I was enthralled. And so getting to that ending of that first one, if it had ended there, I'd just been like, what is that?
Yeah. I think that they probably did the 2-episode drop. That I totally agree. But I think they did the 2-episode drop so they could get the full main cast united. Yeah,
Jude
the Jude Law stand. So they could get the full main cast. Here they all are. In the first like 2 episodes.
The second episode was like 25 minutes long. Like it was very short.
Yeah.
And I think waiting a week for a 25-minute. Oh, it was jam-packed. It did not feel like 25 minutes. But I feel like waiting forever for a 25-minute episode might have been. Then again, we're probably going to end up doing that at some point in this season.
Okay.
Anyway.
That'll be next week.
So, I have one more thing to say about Neil's family before we go ahead. 2 things actually before we go ahead to the pirate ship and everything. But first thing about Neil's family. Did you guys see the beer sign in the garage?
Yes, thank you. Me and Zach were laughing our asses off in the garage.
I don't know the brands, but it's like a beer. It's a classic like beer sign of like a woman holding like 2 like glasses.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, 2 beer steins.
But it was the species that Neil's family is.
Oh my god.
Like,
it's like a little poster in the garage on like the tool shed, and she's like holding up the 2 things, and I'm like, oh,
It was
so
the
It's
perfect,
definitely like the dad's hangout is in the garage
Yeah.
or something.
Well, they were
Yes.
his tools. And so when Wimp is like
Oh.
knocking on like the window, like he's like screaming through the window, like, "Do you still have your dad's tools?" Like the course, the dad has the
That's
tools.
amazing.
Oh, it was
Um,
great. It was so
I-
good.
Getting like
Steve
an
Polly
actual
Bro.
like man cave, like dad garage was like not expected in this show, but it was like very exciting to just like see that. It's so stupid. I
But
love the mundane thing like that.
There were so
Um,
many of those
world builds.
details.
Yeah.
I need a
Um,
sitcom just on Neil's family.
Yeah,
Oh wait,
100%.
that would be like a fun thing for like random like 2-minute shorts. Like you know how they'll release like just stuff of like Grogu like rolling around. Give me like Neil's family.
Just
and
a funny
like,
little,
what
like,
are the
give me
three
Neil
other
Neil
three kids
sitcom.
doing?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
watching TV.
Everybody
Sure,
loves
it's
Neil.
the holiday special, so why not?
Speaking of the holiday special, we
Yeah.
need to talk about the holiday special reference, the hologram. That was like,
that blew me off the couch. watching
dude,
that.
same. I mean, honestly, obviously, we knew there would be some deep cuts, Ewoks references, holiday special references, Captain EO references. We already knew about the Captain EO reference going in. We knew about they said there would be Ewok connections as well. But the holiday special was just like icing on the cake. It's so perfect. This show embraces Star Wars silliness so perfectly.
Yeah. Right up our alley.
Yeah, it's not like mean spirited. They're not making fun of the holiday special. It's just there. Itchy's hologram that he watches in the holiday special.
What a wild
canon.
time we're living in, where like the holiday special is like cherished now.
Yes,
Like Landry, I don't know how you feel about that. Like
Oh, no, I don't even remember. I don't know anything about the holiday special.
Really?
I mean, I saw it live when it was new. It was the only Star Wars we had for so long, and then suddenly, because you couldn't see Star Wars at all, no home video, nothing. It was all. Then suddenly there was Star Wars. I mean, yeah. And then of course the what's her name? The cooking. What's her? I put her into canon. What's that?
The
B.
character
Arthur
was
with the-
Gormanda.
Gormanda,
B.
yeah.
Arthur.
I brought her back into the canon.
Right.
Yeah, that was fun.
Gormanda.
always the cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. Yeah.
I like the
So
cook.
you're the king of pirate lore and cooking lore.
I figure pirates can cook a lot, though.
That's true. Very important.
You know who was a cook? Long John Silver.
It's true.
I'm not talking the brand. I mean, like literally in Treasure Island and like Black Sails and everything.
Really?
He was the cook.
Wait,
I
he's in
didn't know
Black
that.
Sails?
Yeah, he's like
Long
one
John
of the
Silver?
He's in one of the
Black
characters.
Sails is
the main characters.
a prequel to Treasure Island.
Okay, full stop, everyone. Black Sails was a TV show. At this
What?
point,
Yes.
I think it was almost 10 years
I've
ago.
never seen it.
It's very underrated. It was
incredible.
very well made.
It is a prequel to Treasure Island mixed with real life history of actual
Charles Vane,
pirates.
Long
So
John Silver, Captain Flint.
it's incredible.
That's
crazy.
I didn't know
Very
that.
good show. When it came out, it was on Stars. So I don't really know what streaming platform it's on at this point in time. but
I've seen
highly
bits.
recommend it.
I've seen bits. Like it
Might be
always
on
looked
Netflix.
great, but it was always one of those like I can't invest in that right now.
Yeah,
It's a
How many
it's,
seasons is it?
It's like
maybe only
5.
4.
I think it's
4
4 or 5.
seasons.
Mhm. That's not too bad.
I highly recommend if you
It's
like
currently on
pirates in the
Netflix.
slightest.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh,
No, it's very
ooh.
good. If you like pirates, I recommend. It's a little.
I
bit
did
of a
not
slow
know
burn.
it was a
It's
prequel
great.
to
Never been a pirate
Treasure Island.
person, but I guess I could,
You can be
manage.
persuaded.
Have to.
It literally like ends with the captain hiding the treasure for Treasure Island. But
Oh, that's
anyways,
great.
Yeah.
back to this pirate show.
So back to this pirate show and back to the ship. So Wim thinks it is a Jedi temple because he's one track mind. That is all that he thinks that it is. He sees like a circle in the ground and he's
I was
like,
gonna say, I don't
gotta
know why
be a
he
Jedi
thinks it was a Jedi temple,
Okay,
other than the
this
fact that it's
reminds me-
imagination.
I have a friend named Rob who is a huge Green Lantern fan. And when he was a kid, he was on a school bus and he saw off in the gutters or whatever as a bus driver the glint of something green, and he jumped off the bus as quick as he could and ran all the way back because he was convinced. He's like 7 years old or something that must be a Green Lantern power ring. He's finally found one, and of course it's a piece of broken glass, but he's just, for him, that he couldn't resist the possibility that might be what it was.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So kids do that. That's
Yeah.
very real kid behavior.
Yeah.
The Jedi Temple, like, oh, it must be this because he wants it to be, because
Yeah.
it fits his reality, and his reality is limited to what, not just what's around him, but the very narrow focus of his imagination, obsession. So he makes it fit that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's a great
and
point.
off of that, like, as well, it also fits with Fern just happens to overhear this story, and she's like, that means that there's probably something out there to further scavenge, because KB and Fern were like, oh, we've like looked through all the main scrap yards for other parts as it is, because it seems that her speeder was kind of just like tossed together as it was. So if it's her goal as well of, I just want to at least find something. I love all the tall tales that Fern likes to spin as well.
The mine under the school.
The troublemakers get sent to the mines. And this entire this Jedi temple is actually like an old sector where there was a big sewage explosion and the gas made everyone cannibals.
She's a storyteller
in there. If you can,
that was great.
I mean the old urban legends that you hear on the street. I had a couple of them that my friends would always tell me, and of course, I probably was a Neil when I was a kid. I was definitely a Neil when I was.
You still are.
I still am, 100%. But when I was a kid, I was Neil to the umph degree. So I believed all of them, and I was like, always like hanging off the edge, being like, ooh, basically Gerald from Hey Arnold. He always had a story.
I was thinking of Hey Arnold before you said that.
Yeah.
So they get into this spaceship, although they don't know it's a spaceship yet. They just walk right in, and then accidentally get themselves caught in there because Neil gets scared by the little hamster that lives in the droid's head.
SM-33.
Yeah, we'll get to him. He might have been my favorite.
Yeah, I love how all of that escalates. Of they walk right in, they get scared, the door closes them in. They manage to find a way out. And then, of course, Wim has to press the button.
You have to press the button.
You got to press the button.
Oh, yeah.
You need to press it. That's just the way things work.
He has the moment of hesitation, as well, of literally just she literally told me not to do it. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. And then he just does it anyway. It's such a fun moment of just the big green button blinking and then screaming, running away of I didn't do anything. And the girls believe him too, because at that point, since he's also terrified, they're probably he's probably telling the truth,
I love on the walkie-talkie. Well, first of all, I love they have walkie-talkies.
Basic walkie-talkies too.
The don't tell the girls, and Fern, they can obviously it plays out loud, so they all heard
he doesn't know that
she yells back.
I just love Neil hanging from the ceiling that entire scene.
How'd you guys get down there?
Ripping the walkie-talkie off his belt.
Poor Neil. It's just so funny.
He's so good. He's so good.
He really is.
He's an Ortolan.
Yeah.
Not an Ortolan.
He's not.
I love that.
And then Wim's dad is searching for him. Doesn't yell at him, just kind of screams his name, and then is oh my god, the worst possible thing that no one could have ever thought could happen is happening. And then the ship leaves. It's on autopilot. And then it's really scary. The kids go through the barrier, and it's this really tense moment of, oh my god, what's actually happening? And then they all see stars for the first time. We get this moment at the end of the first episode that's just so touching, because these 4 kids who have been outside their entire lives, but they've never seen stars before, and so that was just a really, really cool moment of just getting to experience the wonder again.
It's like Omega. It's the same exact thing as Omega.
Yeah,
actually. He said he's seeing the stars for the first time and the hyperspace feeling.
Or
Ray.
Never thought there was this much green in the entire galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all the same of just experiencing that for the first time, and it was just very cool to see. And then they're all terrified the moment the ship just auto jumps to hyperspace.
Well, yeah, they're so freaked out because they think all those stars are planets, and they pretty much are. Harkening back to Anakin, right? Talking about, I'm going to be the first one to visit them all. Except they're the opposite. They don't want to visit any of them. They want to go home.
They just want to go home.
Well, I don't think Wim wants to go home.
Wim doesn't want to go home. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if out there is much better.
I don't know. Port Borgo looked fun, but
Port
Borgo,
Borgo,
too fun.
Yeah. So okay, so let's believe it or not, we've made it to the end of episode 1 finally.
And we're only an hour in.
We finally
episode 2 shorter and more.
But episode 2 is much shorter and much different. So episode 2 was way out past the barrier. which was a Neil quote. And so they're out. They are in space. They are gone.
This is a real
So there's a droid on the ship that's alive now.
Yep. SM-33, played by Nick Frost.
Oh, he said something funny. He was like,
Okay,
some call me SM-33. What's like what do the others people call you?
Some who call me. It was such a piratey way to say it.
Yeah.
I can't believe they went with Smee.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. And then we have two Smees now because we have the Ugnaught that's dressed as Smee on Gorian Shard's crew, and then we have SM-33. And he does not act like Smee. That's the difference. SM-33 does not act like Smee. He's not like a
SM-33's big Quiggled vibes to me. I could be wrong, Landry, but that's
very, very similar. But he has big pirate vibes. And Quiggle is a classic pirate. So you're going to end up with those. In the Venn diagram of pirates, there are a lot of overlap there.
It's
and he seems
literally
like he's like a first mate kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
he definitely has like that vibe to him. He at some point in time, I feel like someone like uploaded like the Pirate's Guide to the Galaxy to SM-33 because like he immediately is like listing off protocols like a normal droid would of just like, oh, a ship needs to have a captain. We can't be flying around with no captain. So
some
where's the captain?
Dutchman ass rules.
Like he needs to know. He has like the full like piloting 101 like course ready to go. He has like suggestions for the general like procedures of how the ship should be like ran, and so he definitely has like a really like up to date of logistics of how to be a pirate.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that like these kids stumble upon him and he just immediately assumes, sure, they're pirates. Doesn't ask any questions.
Oh, it's great. It's
actually
perfect
like
droid behavior.
He just rolls with it. I love him so much immediately.
Why would you be here if you're not a pirate? So you must be a pirate. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
He might be my favorite droid ever.
He's such a good droid.
No, yeah,
he's up there.
You're right.
He's
like,
great.
He has a really cool design. Like I love how only one of his eyes work, and so it's like he has an eye patch, but he has the little critter that like lives inside of his like skull.
He also looks like a skull.
I don't know how I feel about the guy living inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
He is,
he
pretty much is, yeah.
He's brilliantly done.
Brilliant design.
The
skeleton,
the peg leg, like walking around.
Peg leg, yeah.
I guess he started to say like, oh, you guys are kids, and then he was
he literally does say that. Like Fern like yells at him like, why did you bring us to a place where there's pirates? And he's like, because we're pirates. And she's like, we're not pirates, we're kids. And he's like, you're not pirates?
What?
Why can't kids be pirates? And then he gets shot like as he like says that. So like he doesn't even like care that like they are kids because he's just like pirates, whatever. You're the captain. Just rolls with
when
it.
He shows up, says, leave my captain, whatever his quote was. I loved that. Loved every bit of that. I know I'm jumping way ahead to the end of it.
It's okay.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, same. And he like does the whole like Henry Cavill loading up his fists before he like beats the crap out of everybody.
That's such a cool feature for a droid of to actually like just like suddenly like extending all of his like limbs and whatnot, and he has like the extra like shields and everything.
Yes. And he burns the guy.
Yeah. It's just very, very cool.
Fight mode.
Yeah.
All droids have some kind of fight mode.
It's like it's similar to there's that one episode of Rebels where there's the droid that the Empire sends as like a spy droid, and it lands on the base on Adelon, and it looks like a protocol droid, and then it like transforms to be like a bigger droid, and it's the whole it's reporting back as a spy. That's like our favorite Rebel base.
Jamie, you know who SM-33 also reminded me of? Another Fallout reference for Fallout fans. Ironsides. Fallout 4 Ironsides, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I love Ironsides.
I think it's like the voice, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess in a way. Sure, why not?
But Port Borgo.
So Port Borgo. God, I loved Port Borgo. So I was reading through before we started tonight, just like the Star Wars official like recap of all the locations and all the information from these episodes, and they mentioned that Port Borgo was actually something yanked out of Legends. It was Borgo Prime previously, and so they just doctored it up a little bit differently, but now it's just Port Borgo. This was another one of those moments in the show where while I was watching for the first time, like you see it for the first time, and then you get the twangs of like the nice pirate music, and I think I had to like pause this show because I was like, we've cooked a little bit too hard. Like,
so like Star Wars is the best franchise ever to do the like rich marketplace, like giant open area with just a trillion different things in the background that you can just look
established
at.
Absolutely.
So well.
They made a theme park that looks like it. Like
literally,
yeah.
yes. Like it's the kind of stuff you dream of being a part of. That's that's what Batu is all about. And it's like you just keep upping yourself. You keep outdoing yourself, Star Wars. Port Borgo was so good.
You get like a SM-33 giving us the Captain Obvious with a Port Borgo. You'll rest well either in a soft bed or a shallow grave.
Shallow grave.
Come on.
It's so good.
That was great.
And then we get to see all of these moored. They are like buoyed up to like all of like the tethered by like wires and whatnot, all these like ships and whatnot, and there's turrets like following you as you go along, and it's just so cool. Man. And then you get the ferryman, so they dock. You get the ferryman coming in.
Second deep
this like
cut
bubble like a ship, which is terrifying. Like imagine being like a plastic bubble.
I know.
Jeez. So the ferryman was
it was literally like a trash bag of a ship.
Yeah, no kidding.
The teak from the Ewok.
From the Ewok series.
Yeah.
Man, he looked like he had seen some shit, for lack of better.
Oh yeah. Oh come on! You're the ferryman on a pirate port, city. Of course, you've seen some shit.
He has some stories to tell.
Oh God, he's got all the stories.
You can't understand him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I love watching him skitter off.
Like he's so fast.
It's so good.
As Corey in the chat said, the puppetry in this episode was like classic Star Wars.
I 100% agree.
There was so much in this show you could tell. They used practical stuff.
Yeah,
there's so much you could tell, like seeing it.
And the wolf pirate from the beginning, the Wolfman pirate
Brutus.
At the beginning.
We haven't even talked about Brutus.
Oh
we haven't talked about that crew like at all. We haven't barely talked about Silvo.
We haven't gotten there.
Brutus was so good.
Fantastic. I mean,
yes.
the werewolf pirate. Yeah. Okay.
Please, it's perfect.
Okay, we talked about the ferryman and how he runs off with the money. But we can talk about the pirates in general now. So the ferry like literally was held together at duct tape.
Kidding.
Like it was just a plastic bubble, plastic tube. I don't know, terrifying. And I love how all the kids were terrified getting onto the ship as well. Aside from Wim, he was just excited to be there.
Because it got brought up in the chat. We should talk about Fuzzball real quick. Fuzzball.
Let's talk about Fuzzball.
Yeah.
Fuzzball from Captain EO. That's a Captain EO creation, which if anybody doesn't know, Captain EO was a ride in Epcot, 1989, or not a ride. It was more like a show.
An experience.
It was an experience. Yes. You went into an auditorium. It was like a 4D auditorium. So it would, the seats would rumble. And, I don't remember if they shot steam or like mist at you or something like that. But there were a bunch of different things. It was a 3D show. And all of the effects were done by Lucasfilm. And it was a Michael Jackson vehicle. It was Michael Jackson played Captain EO. And he was like this fearless, awesome space superhero, and he had a crew. And one of the people on the crew was a little flying fuzzball named Fuzzball. He was a little guy, he flies around, you get the 3D effect, and he's got butterfly wings, and it was just like great. And then he also had a blue elephant guy on his crew as well. Again, not an Ortolan, another different species.
Too many
That's the thing with the butterfly wings.
Yes, Fuzzball. He's from Captain EO.
Thing. Oh my God, I hated that thing. I'm terrified of butterflies.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, like I have a deep butterfly phobia. And I saw this now. I was already 18, I think, when like Captain EO occurred. So I missed it. I was already too old and off doing all sorts of little punk rock 18-year-old adventures. So I see this thing and I'm just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. No, it was
That's
not
fair.
okay with that.
Well, you must have been thrilled to see him in this episode. In a cage, at the very least. They're all captured now. They've all been wrangled.
Good.
But now they're loose.
But now they're loose again. They got
loose.
Bad.
Monsters.
But yeah,
because then I'm thinking, what are they before they had their wings? Like caterpillars.
Maybe, or maybe they're just born with the wings. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. We'll never know.
You got to grow the wings. You got to grow.
We'll never know.
Right.
Let's go back to the pirates. So something I love about all the pirates in this show is the diversity of the aliens, and also just like a good amount of just like grody looking humans as well. But like we have, I would say at this point, aliens across all eras, including some new ones too. Because and Brutus might be like some sort of deep cut, probably. He's just a wolf man.
He's Wolfman
like,
from the Cantina scene in A New Hope. There was a Wolfman. I don't remember if they got rid of it or not.
That's why I was so happy to see him.
Yeah. And so it's been I love when they just like pull creatures and whatnot and just getting all the glups into this finally, and just like glups. Seeing all of them.
Jaleel White.
Port Gluppo.
Yeah.
Really.
So I love how
Port
he's
Gluppo.
already been like a call out and everything, and I can't wait to actually see him in the show further on of like what else he's gonna like talk about. That'll just be fun. You guys see Vane again. My guy Vane.
I know. I'm surprised he didn't play a bigger part so far. He really only had like one or two lines.
I mean, he played a big enough of a part, I would say, because like he's in the very first scene.
He's biding his time.
Yeah.
What does Vane do? Yeah, he just kind of like chills on the sidelines, but biding his time. Exactly. Yeah. He's definitely like Brutus's like second in command now at this point,
for sure.
Which is hilarious. Brutus.
I would not want to be on Brutus's crew.
No.
Definitely.
To go back to Matt's question.
Before we started, there was a mention of Zuvio.
Yes. All right, let's talk about
it.
Here we go.
So I'm breaking down like the aliens as we're getting there. I was actually going to get to him next. So I don't know if it's them just reusing costumes because they've done that before.
I mean,
or
is.
If it's like something else, maybe it's the actual character. But in the background at Port Borgo, with the whole altercation with the kids, and like then they end up not booking them, but like taking them as prisoners. Constable Zuvio is in the background, and you know what? He's actually the one to hang up the keys. So we don't know if it's actually him. That would be really funny if it is Constable Zuvio and he's like the jailer for these pirates, and then he goes to be Constable Zuvio on Jakku. Do
we see his face?
No,
I don't think so. But it's the helmet and it's the full outfit. So I don't know what it could be. 3
of them in Force Awakens, not just Zuvio.
True.
There's Zuvio and his 2 cousins, Brigo and Streen or something like that. And you don't see their faces. And I saw that briefly and I thought, that looks like, and it looked like, not that Zuvio might not have the exact same mask. One would assume that he shops wherever his cousins shop. It does stand to reason, but it does not look like a place Zuvio would be.
That's what I'm thinking.
I do not.
Well, you would know.
Unless he's undercover.
I don't but let's be fair. They do change things on the authors, like all the time.
Of course. Oh yeah.
I could go on at length about Resistance and the member of the female character. It was supposed to be a member of the race of Unkar Plutt, which made no sense. Was impossible.
Right.
Does not work.
Yeah. The bartender.
Because the females of the species are completely different species. They do not look at all like. That's the whole plot of the story I wrote. So they can change this stuff, right? But for me, if that's Zuvio, Zuvio must have, and this is before, I guess he went through some big transformative moment. Let's just say that. He became a different person by the time of the story.
Yeah.
So
Which, we're giving him 30 years to change. I think that's enough time. We're at 25 years.
So for those of you in the chat and are listening and have no idea why we suddenly brought up Constable Zuvio at great length and in such detail, it's because he may have appeared in this episode, but Landry was the author to also do a short story about Constable Zuvio.
Pretty much established Zuvio lore, considering the movie did not.
That we always talk about that has the short story about Sinai Thano. So that's why I was like, we got to bring up Constable Zuvio.
Do you have that book behind you, or is it down here?
No, it's downstairs in the hallway behind you.
I don't even have one.
But it's
That's my other bookshelf. Damn.
We have it nowhere easily accessible today.
But I was in such a rush today. Like I literally ran in here after finishing the episode, jumped in his chair and turned it on, and I had my HoloNet Marauders shirt in the other room ready to change into. I was going, I'm going to wear the shirt. It was a bonkers day.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
Thank you for being here anyway.
Yes.
We love to see it. What else do we have with Port Borgo?
Well, I want to talk about when they're locking them up in the brig.
Oh, there's the
there
book.
It is. That's
Hang on, there's the book. Tales from a Galaxy Far, Far Away.
Zuvio's right in the middle.
There he is. Yeah, I wish we had a screenshot of Constable Zuvio from the show. I'm gonna have to take a look at him and just see if
we'll do some
like
digging.
what we see of him specifically.
Yeah,
and then look at Zuvio's cousins and see if he matches.
That's true. I mean, I would bet that this is just a reuse of costume situation because they also reused one of the Canto Bight aliens at the beginning.
The fact that he's putting up the keys, though.
I know. True.
Right?
Well, maybe
that's why the whole Zuvio thing is questionable because it's like, oh, what if this guy is like the pirate jailer? Yeah. And then suddenly he's like, you know what? Actually, maybe I don't want to be a pirate. I want to atone a little. And he goes off and does.
Okay, he could be trying to bring law to the lawless. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So you know what? He's there doesn't mean he's there. Part of it. I mean, there's lots of corruption on Jakku, but he's like, nope, let's do things by the books.
Man, watch this just be absolutely nothing, and it's just us just bluffing it up.
Well, we're always want to make sure they don't contradict any of the deeply established tons and tons of Zuvio lore out there.
I mean, come on. They sold out action figures of Constable Zuvio. I mean, everybody's a Constable Zuvio fan.
I gotta say as well. We need that. I really need to get this on the record saying we asked Landry to join us a while ago, not before, and it was before the episode aired, so we didn't know questionably Zuvio was going to be in this episode and we were going to be talking to the author.
Questionable Zuvio.
He's not Constable Zuvio, he's questionable Zuvio.
Questionable Zuvio.
That's where he's at in his life right now.
If it is Zuvio, it's the most Where's Waldo moment, though.
I know.
It's so on brand for him.
Where's Zuvio?
It is because now Zuvio has established more screen time in Skeleton Crew than he did in The Force Awakens.
Zuvio. Oh.
Okay, let's move on because this has become every single Star Wars podcast stereotype of did you see that guy in the background? Because we literally have talked about this for like 10 minutes now.
Yeah,
but I do want to talk specifically about one instance when they're in the brig getting locked up. Constable Zuvio leaves the keys on the ring. All of this extremely Pirates of the Caribbean, and you hear the whistle.
Yes,
you hear the whistle.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just such a really nice touch. Like, it was perfect. I was almost like keenly aware that I was going to hear the whistle before I did. Like, we're in the brig.
Yeah.
Where's the whistle? It's pirates, and we got it. So I was like very thrilled about that.
It's super fun. I mean, like, obviously we have the Captain EO, and like I'd even argue I have my little like Epcot reference from like the other episode as well of like these guys are just like Parks fans because it's not like it's like forced onto us references. It's like, no, these are like little like fun things going on in the background that are just like, oh hey, by the way,
but this
you know kind of thing.
This has been a love letter to the Lucasfilm Creature Shop. I think that is just the best way to put it. This whole show is just a love letter to the Lucasfilm Creature Shop and just the little tiny retro futuristic bits that existed in the 70s and 80s that Disney was putting out. Like no question.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
Get Jod.
Yeah, well, now we got to talk about Jod.
I got other stuff to talk about before we even get to him.
Long Jod Silva.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably what his name is going to be. Let's be real. I meant to say earlier, in the very first scene when they are attacking the ship, his helmet and like the way that his silhouette was from afar, it really looked like he had like a tri-corner like piratey hat.
Oh yeah.
The way that his helmet is, like when you look at it from afar, when you're looking at it like close up, it doesn't really look like it. It just kind of looks like there's a big like bowl on his head. But like when you look at it from afar, it's like, oh, that looks like a pirate, which is like funny to see.
I liked the pirate hats they tried on in the ship.
Why are there so many excessively like Caribbean pirate?
They're literally just Pirates of the Caribbean hats. It was like, oh my god.
I gotta say, I loved it, but that was like my lone criticism of how like Earth pirate that was. Like, what are we doing?
So jumping back to episode 1 real quick in terms of Earth stuff, when he has a cereal, he pours a cereal. I'm like, that is the cereal container I ate cereal out of every day. That is literally my cereal. What is happening?
Yeah. Oh,
I thought that
like
too.
the new thing. We love cereal has been like the new Star Wars go-to. We got gray milk now. Add that to the list.
Ooh.
Apparently,
very fitting for At-Atten.
Exactly. I love that visual because At-Atten's gray.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
KG has a really good point here. I didn't think of this actually, but why does he wait to grab the keys when the kids are there?
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't he just do it earlier?
He's definitely this is definitely like a DJ situation. He's sitting in the brig waiting for an opportunity, not just an opportunity to escape, but an opportunity to get rich or something.
Yeah. Well,
somebody he can scam.
I assume it's because he has a ship. The kids have a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's definitely using them to get to At-Atten. I don't trust him for a second. I don't think you're supposed to. Like I said, he's literally just Long John Silver, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. I don't even know if he has the Force. He might not.
He might just have been using like a magnet, like Haja in Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
because we have that established now. You can use technology to kind of fake the Force.
Or that might just be all he can really do. That was like his one big trick he ever learned.
Yeah.
Right. That could also have been a thing. I mean, he may have in the past been a Jedi, or he could have just never had like too much Force like sensitivity. I mean, I don't know.
What's the timeline here? Because what year is this supposed to take place?
So now this is supposed
around the same time. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I'm assuming it's sometime after Gorian Shard dies. So sometime after
7 years
season
after,
3.
Like 6 or 7 years after Return of the Jedi, maybe.
Yeah, I think Ahsoka and Mando season 3 are the same.
Or the actor, like we could go with that.
Jude Law's in his 50s, isn't he?
Yeah.
So then,
I'd
we
wager
could probably
he's like,
say Jod's in his 50s too.
So how old was he during Revenge of the Sith?
Well, let's see. This is
could be like Baylan Skull age.
We could say 37 years after A New Hope, which was 19 years before that for Revenge of the Sith. So we're getting a little.
It could be possible. Long story short, but
I like the idea of a Order 66 survivor just becoming like a pirate. I mean, that's kind of cool.
I mean, think of it in like the sense of, okay, I'm gonna use the Kanan example. Kanan after Order 66 joins up with a smuggler, and he just like he does that in like odd jobs and doesn't use the Force until he meets Hera, and then he still doesn't really use the Force, but he kind of reconnects with it a little bit, and he does not fully reconnect with it until he meets Ezra. And so like I mean, like, who knows? Maybe this is like Jod's way. We don't even know if Jod has the Force fully. He probably does. But like this could have been the way that he like dealt with it, was just like, oh, I'm just gonna disconnect myself from the Force and
it makes sense.
Yeah.
So a lot of sense
good cover.
That would happen.
Yeah, so this is probably around 34 years after Revenge of the Sith. Now that I'm thinking about it, I said 34 years after New Hope, but I was totally wrong.
If he was part of the Jedi Order, he would have likely been a Padawan. Probably, maybe not complete his training. Saw a lot of things go down, and basically went into survival mode, like we've seen happen with other characters from that same era.
Yeah.
The Cal Kestis or Baylan Skull or whoever, like that's a thing. Makes a lot of sense.
Speaking of
Cal
Kestis,
have their different paths. But yeah, go ahead.
Jedi Survivor is also basically Treasure Island / Treasure Planet. A very similar story.
Yeah.
Pretty
Very
much.
True.
But
With Tanalorr
this is more
being
piratey.
Yeah, At-Atten and Tanalorr are basically, both Treasure Island. As
I got more to talk about the pirates, guys.
Go ahead.
I want to do a few call outs of random background pirates that I absolutely loved. There was a couple moments. There was some guy stealing someone else's boots.
Fantastic.
Which was like, they put a lot of effort into showing some guy just yanking these boots off of another guy and then running away like a madman.
Very
piratey. There was another guy who was shown in the first episode who got shot in the eye and then turned. He was on Port Borgo. He was getting a new cybernetic eye, and so they showed that, which was very fun. And my other personal favorite was the guy getting the Hutt Cartel tattoo, and then it gets screwed up. The droid's like, "Oh no, it's ruined," and the guy's like, "What?"
Oh no, just kidding. It looks fine.
If you want more proof that Jabba the Hutt is a pirate, That's right there.
There you go.
And people argue this. He's a pirate.
Well, we always talk about the thing that you told me that completely just like blew my mind about the walking the plank and the Jedi
reaffirming it. Okay.
Sail barge.
Yeah. No. I'm glad you called it back because I do remember that conversation. That was a fun moment. When
that changed my life.
I never thought of it like that either.
I'm a different person post that discussion. I want to talk about just very quickly the horseman. Horseman, love the horse guy trying to get the credits. The guy serving the kids.
Yeah. Oh, so I was just gonna say that. So like I was just gonna mention the money. So we have the kids tossing the money around. And I loved all of the creatures that were being used as the pirates. They were so excessively like gross.
And the woman who is trying to save them.
We didn't talk to her. So and then we have literally have like the brothel there, and we have the Thelan woman, and then the other woman who
the woman with the 3 sets of breasts.
Yes, who's in Jabba's palace dancing. It's probably not the same, but
probably not the same species. Who knows?
Same species, but who knows? But that was fun to see a comment to that.
We don't. If Max Rebo and Size Noodles can survive, I think
so can she.
But,
3 sets of breasts lady can survive too.
But I loved the Thelan woman. Like she was great because you could like the kids don't necessarily trust her, which like they shouldn't, which is good. No. But at the same time, it does seem like she is being really genuine. We have to get you guys out, like get you out of here, and I want to try to help you.
That person felt so real. That was good. That was well done.
Yeah,
very well done.
Because I love how she pretty much says to them, like, if you're trying to run away from something, Aten is not the excuse you should be like the cover-up story you should be using. And so I love how she immediately sees like these 2 lost little girls, and she's like, these kids are running away from something. Let me at least like try to get them on the right path. And I love to see that. It was just a very good moment all of that.
It was, I agree. Very realistic of somebody who seems to be very caring, actually caring about these kids being here, like being like, you should not be here, you cannot be here. And
then we get the reveal that apparently Aten is literally a lost planet of eternal treasure.
Yep.
Like what does that mean?
We know obviously pirates were headed there, crash landed there, so
obviously
together.
This is a case of, is there still treasure underneath the planet that these people don't know about, or are these credits and these riches that these people have been living off of the treasure?
Yes, and yes.
I like
it's always been the treasure.
So that's where I want to leave us at this point of like, what do we think the treasure of Aten is? Because it definitely exists. Either it did in the past, or the people of Aten, at least the undersecretary, like know that it exists because they train their entire workforce to be well versed in finances and accounting. So they definitely are aware of the treasure on their planet. But that's probably also why they have whatever this barrier is. But why would the rest of the galaxy be cut off from it? So like that's what like the bigger like mystery is at this point of.
And what do you think?
What caused that?
You think the barrier was a natural thing?
I did, but like the more I think about it, like it may have been something that was like fabricated.
I think those red dots,
blinking red dots,
and I think those were part of the barrier. And I think that was manufactured.
It looked man-made.
It hides the stars.
I think
so. Hear me out. I don't know how updated you guys are on the High Republic recently, but
not.
Okay, I'll do a quick little bit about the beginning of Phase 3. So there's a section now in space called the Occlusion Zone, and so the Nihil pirates have essentially put up a wall around like a section of the galaxy, and the Nihil pirate ships are the only ones who can go through because they have proper like clearance to do so. Any other ships that try to go through are pretty much vaporized, but it's not like hidden. So I think that there's potential that this is some sort of pseudo Nihil technology flipped around this planet. And they're in their own little occlusion zone. And that ship that took off with the kids, bear with me, the ship that took off with the kids was an old Nihil pirate ship that had the way to get through the occlusion zone. And so that's how they got through the barrier.
Could have been.
Maybe.
But hey,
I think that's a really deep cut, but it's possible.
A really
I mean,
deep cut. I mean,
yeah.
it's
It could be in the
relevant 'cause that
same
all came out,
spirit
like,
as that. You know, it might not be a Nihil ship
I don't know.
like explicitly, but it could just be like in the same vein as
I
that
think it
kind
could
of.
be.
It's a pirate ship.
I'm
There
with
was
you.
pirate hats on that ship.
There were the Nihil
And-
are pirates. They're marauders.
No, I know, but they're more like Vikings.
They
That's
are
was
more
true.
like
They are
Vikings.
more
They're
like
like
Vikings.
SM-33 was his
steampunk
Which
pirate.
Vikings.
aren't that different than pirates.
No, I
ultimately.
know, but
Yeah.
I mean, there could have been like either a separate subset of them. You never know.
We'll see. We'll find out. That's a great mystery. It's such a good mystery.
Yeah.
Also,
Has me like
SM-33
totally thrilled.
looks like a more modern droid.
He does, but at the same time, he doesn't. Like, he kind of looks like K2, but he obviously like isn't that same kind of a model. I don't know. I think that it's like a fun little like mystery. I think that it's definitely from like the farther past than we think. So
Yeah.
Also, thank you, Will of the Force. Raise the Jolly
Hey.
Roger. That's
Will-
fantastic.
Jolly Roger Roger.
Fantastic.
It's up.
Jolly
I'm
Jolly.
dying for one of those of SM-33 though from Star Wars though. That
Oh,
would
yeah.
be absolutely killer if we can get
That
one of
would be
those one
Yeah.
day.
Ooh.
But we got all of our normal pirate gear. But anyway, do I have anything else to say about Port Borgo, guys? I feel like I have a million things. I'm glad Vane
we
showed
could do
up.
a week of episodes on Port
We
Borgo.
literally we could talk about this for another 5 hours.
I really could.
We
I
could get
could
to
too.
our. We're
can't.
approaching an hour 40. We can
We
get to
can't.
our episode MVPs.
No more chat
Okay.
about Port Borgo.
I mean, we'll be back there again next week. So
Yeah, we will.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We'll be there forever. I'll be there
So,
myself.
episode
So the episode
MVPs,
MVP.
We usually call it character of the week, but since we have two other things called of the week, episode
We
MVPs
rebranded it.
is now
That's good.
rebranded to this. So we'll do two since there was two episodes. And Landry, I think you've been part of this before, where we and our guests each individually choose characters of the week, episode MVP as it's now called, and at the end of the season we do a count of who that'll be. So like the final season of Bad Batch, the character of that season was Echo, oddly enough, and he was in like 3 episodes.
He appeared in no episode.
But we all voted for him
We
when
all
he did
voted for him
appear.
when he did appear, so he was like
I think that's what- yeah.
character of the season.
And then the Acolyte, I think Chimere, the Stranger,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
won
for
that.
sure.
So
Despite my
Um,
Yord votes.
I have a
Sorry, Yord.
prediction that Neil will be the character of this show. I could
Really?
be wrong.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. I mean,
All right.
but
So-
we'll see.
So let's go around the panel here of picking your favorite characters from episode 1 and 2. So the MVP, most valuable person from this week. Chat, you can also toss in your answers as well. We'll go with Landry first if you have your picks ready to go.
Wait, okay? So I'm picking multiples.
Pick 2.
Yeah, for each
Yeah,
episode.
For each episode.
SM-33, Smee. I'm going to call him Smee.
Yeah.
And Neil. I mean, easy. Oh, okay. It's a real toss up on the second choice. I'm blanking. I'm literally watched it and jumped in here, so I'm still a little off on characters' names. The captain of the kid group, the girl who
Fern.
Oh yeah, Fern.
Fern, yeah.
I also really like. I mean, I like all the kids. I really like all the kids. Each one for different reasons because it all just rang so true. I really liked this show.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Same.
Like
See,
this is right now based only on 2 episodes. This can change. The whole show is so up in my top choices of Star Wars for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Smee, and I'll just stick with my first choice of Neil because I like Ortolans, and he's obviously an Ortolan.
Okay. All right.
AJ, what are your picks this week?
So I wrote these down as we were going, so I wouldn't forget. But first episode, Neil. Second episode, SM-33.
God.
It's me.
Uh-oh.
So same as
Uh-oh.
Landry.
Oh no.
And
Matt?
Corey brought up. We used to do our Glup Shido of the week too. We can throw that in for fun.
We'll do that at the end. Yeah, we'll do that.
That could be
at
a
the
total of the 2 episodes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if we're going characters,
Yeah.
if we're doing Glup Shidos separately, because I usually pick the Glup Shidos as my characters, but I'll go Glup
You-
Shido separately.
end. Pick whatever you want, Matt.
What's the baby's name in episode 1,
Tulu.
little baby?
Tulu.
Yeah.
Tulu.
That's who gets it.
I thought of that.
Sending Wim to Neil while he's taking a bath. Brilliant. Just sitting there, just like just pointing up, like
very ET like.
Very ET like. They're like your best friend's little like siblings. That's like a trope in and of itself. And it's like when you show up at the window and you're like, where is he? Like, it's over there.
He's in the tub.
He's brilliant. It's brilliant. Perfect. And I think for the second episode, I'll pick Neil. Just because I love Neil.
Love it.
Very good. Neil already has 3 votes.
This is going to be a Neil sweep.
It's going to be a
Neil sweep.
Well, it's not going to be a Neil sweep, unfortunately.
Ooh.
I was very close to it, but I going to pick differently. So for episode 1, I'm going to pick KB, actually, because she's one, like the moment like the show got like actual images and the character design was announced, I loved the idea of everything with her. I thought she was going to be a Mira Lucan at first, but then it turned out she wasn't. But I'm still cool with it because I really like what they did, like with like the visor and her using it throughout it. But I just related a lot to her, and she's just kind of along for the ride. Knows what her business is, and is just kind of along for the ride. And there's definitely more to like unpack like for her because she was like the most quiet out of the group, and we didn't meet any of her family aside from.
Yeah,
the speeder was in her family's garage, but she was my character of the week. And then for episode 2, I have to go with SM33. I love a good droid.
He's so good.
Adore him already so much, and I think that he's up there, like you said, Landry. He might be one of my favorite droids.
He's a great droid.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Glup Shido of the week, guys. So I guess let's try to pick one each, even though it was 2 episodes. But if you have an absolutely like outstanding one to say, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Well, overall, I'm going with Horseman. I liked Horseman. He was a cool dude. He would crack those little crabs over the little noodles. Would you eat that?
No.
I don't think I would.
No, I did it before when it was just like the noodles, yeah, but not with the stuff on it.
How do you know it's not? How do you know it's not tasty? How do you know it's not tasty?
It might be. I mean, I don't know. Some people eat bugs in real life and stuff, right? I don't know.
It's true. What are lobsters but sea bugs anyway?
Sea bugs, yeah. Before I've been thinking about this the whole time. Who does Fern and KB remind me of? And I think we gave a few options. But I've made a lot of Nickelodeon references tonight. I don't know why, but I get big Helga and Phoebe vibes.
That's brilliant.
Yes. I was also going to say
second Hey Arnold reference today.
Yeah,
it's also very Peppermint Patty and Marcy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the other one.
Which is probably like Helga and
definitely inspired for that.
Shout out to Hannah, who loves a big Charlie Brown big Charlie Brown fan. Our friend Hannah,
reference.
Big Charlie Brown fan.
Landry, who was your Glup Shido of the week?
The tattoo droid.
Yes.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
I want to get a real look at all the work done on the droid, all the
they're all like
I know.
That was very cool.
All the tattoos on the droid. It's great.
All right, AJ.
I gotta go with the teak, the ferryman.
Oh yeah,
I got a big laugh out of that, and I'm not even a big Ewok film guy. Like
the way he moved.
Yeah.
It was
Jaleel White is a good.
Yes, Jaleel White's character. I can't wait to see more of him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call him a Glup Shido just yet because I feel like we just haven't been introduced to him yet. But
I feel like you don't get Jaleel White to be a Glup Shido.
No,
I feel like
we just haven't been introduced to him yet. For me, for Glup Shido of the week, I'm gonna go with the little hamster rat thing was like
love hamster rat, man.
Me's head, because it had so much little character like on its own. Like it would jump scare all the kids and like scare the pants off of Neil multiple times.
He almost got the keys.
Did a little dance on the pipe,
trying to tell him to get the keys, and it's like literally sitting there like okay, and then it just tries to do it, and then it just keeps going. I gotta look up what its name was. I'm pretty sure Star Wars
had a name. That's good.
Somebody said in the chat earlier it was Snowball, but I don't know if they made that up or if that was real.
I think that might actually be it. Might be Snowball. But
all right,
that's
Snowball.
A perfect name.
Little hamster there. That's my Glup Shido of the week.
Write that down. Oh,
Snowball.
Well, I'll mention this before we end. I don't want to go off topic, but there was one little detail I noticed that our friend Ryan told me about. In the background, there's graffiti at the school behind Fern when she's sitting outside the principal's office. In Arabesh, written on the wall, it says turd eater. So there you go.
Perfect.
Wow.
Fern painted that one.
You know,
She wrote that.
on that note, that is the only way that Holland Marauders can end. I'll be straight up honest. Thank you so much for joining us this week, Landry, and thank you for taking the time to be here and chat with us. We always are excited to talk to you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you for sticking around.
I love it. It's great.
Thank you for everyone who joined us tonight in the chat and hanging out with us. If you've chatted the entire time, thank you guys for being here. This is a very long stream, but as you can see, we absolutely adore Skeleton Crew so far. And like, we were looking forward to it going into it, but it's actually like surpassed expectations
Charmed
so
my
far.
pants off.
Wow.
Yes, as I say.
Okay.
That's a weird way to put it.
We're going to end even further now because that was weird, Matt. You can find Hollow Marauders everywhere on social media at Hollow Marauders, whichever social media platforms are around at this point in time. We're there on it. You can catch this podcast as well on any of the major audio podcast platforms, and it's also available on YouTube. And we'll be back next week for episode 3 of Skeleton Crew with another fun guest. And so we'll catch you guys next time, and we'll see you on the HoloNet. See you next time, everybody.